Right then, welcome, welcome, welcome. Aren't you lucky ducks? Two guest experts in 1 month. And this is a guest expert of joy. I met Anne-Louise a year ago. It's our year anniversary,
It
Anne-Louise.
is 1 year.
On a retreat for we were being coached by another brilliant human, and we just connected and had the most wonderful time. And we've stayed in touch ever since. And in that time, you've written a book, which I'm sure you're going to tell us all about, and is
It's what I
absolutely
prepared earlier.
here's one I prepared. Here we are. And it's going to take us through an energy activation and looking and continuing the theme that we're going with this month with regards to noticing what is serving us well in 2025, what we want to move into in 2026, and also, really importantly, what we're leaving behind. We come at energy. Energy is a big part of what we both talk about with our core audience, and we come at it from slightly different angles. So I'm really excited to see, and I think like you guys are going to absolutely love it. So the floor is yours, Anne-Louise. Handing over to you, my
Lovely.
friend.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. So today, what I want to help you to do is to in 26. And as Sarah said, we want to leave some of the shit behind in 2025. We don't want to take everything necessarily with us. That includes emotions, people, husbands who don't do what you ask them to do, those kind of things. But I want you to have a think about today what we're going to leave in 2025 and what we're going to take into 2026. And I'm going to take you through an energy activation which is going to help you with that. And while we're doing that, I'll be tapping into your energy, and then if we have time at the end, if Sarah says okay, we can carry on. Then I am also a channel, so I channel in messages from the universe. So if you have any questions that you want to ask the universe, now I can't guarantee they're going to give you a straight answer because they don't always do that, but they will give you the guidance and tell you what you need to hear in order to get the answer to your question, or in order to help you to get to where you want to get to. So if we've got time to play around with the universe at the end, then we can do that as well. So first of all, I'd like you to have a think about what you want to leave in 2025. So that might be, you might be working on, you perhaps worked on a program or some offers, or you've been working on something for a long time and you just know it's not serving you any longer, and it's really hard to let go of things that perhaps you've put a lot of time and effort and energy into. So think about those emotions as well that are no longer serving you. So are there any ways that you feel? Are there any things that you say to yourself on repeat that you don't want to say to yourself anymore? Like, our inner critic is not a nice person, and she can be very harsh and very judgmental. So is there something that you say like without even thinking? So mine is idiot. When I do something, I'm like, you bloody idiot, and I say that before I've even had time to stop myself. So anything like that, or maybe there's a pattern or a behavior. So maybe you don't want to hit snooze. The version of you that goes to 2026 doesn't hit snooze anymore, or doesn't have that glass of wine every night, puts a hand up. And things like that that you maybe want to change about yourself, that you don't want to take into 2025. And some of those things, like I say, you might have put a lot of time and effort into, but it's time to let them go. So is there anybody who's brave enough to share about, so I call my inner critic Fanny Annie, because that way I can just go, I can tell her to shut up because it's not me. So when you separate the identity, it's easier to choose and have that choice of go, I'm actually not listening to you today. I'm not a lazy cow because I worked my arse off yesterday or the day before. So I'm just not available for what you have to say. And it just separates that being able to tell her what for, because if you're like me, I had decades of listening to this very judgmental inner voice, and she'd go on and on and on, and she became like a record in the background. Like, you know, when you go to a restaurant, there's music on, you don't really know what's playing because you haven't gone for the music, you've gone for the meal. But it becomes like this record, and you don't half the time realize what she's saying, but she's on at you bleating all the time. So just being able to change that record and have that separate identity, it's you're so used to hearing the criticism and living with the criticism, that to change it feels odd. Like anything we change is odd at first when you try and change that voice. So the first thing is to shut her up and to stop her, and then we try and change the record to, actually, I'm going to be a bit more kind and a bit more loving. So when you sit on the sofa and watch mindless telly because you do need time to zone out, it's okay for me to do this. I'm going to do this for an hour because I need some downtime, and then I'm going to get up and do the things rather than
focused and motivated on it. So, and I think I'm at the stage.
it's enough now. I'm going to move forward, and sometimes it has to get really, really shit before you go, actually, I'm going to make a change now. And visualizing, like visioning yourself. And I know this is not just visioning. I completely understand. It's not just a case of I can vision myself to the way I want, because that's not how it works. Anything works, actually. If you're going to vision anything you want, it takes action and it takes your to it. But to help you with that, to layer the actual action taking, is to set that vision of the goal that you want to reach. I'm going to talk a little bit about emotion in a minute, but think about how you want to feel, because often we focus on the goal, we focus on the thing, the amount of money or the weight we want to lose or the place we want to live, or we focus on the goal. So if you lead with the emotion of how you're going to feel when that weight comes off, that will drive you. Because we all, women particularly, judge themselves, as you know, that inner critic like we were talking about. And when you're comparing yourself to everyone else, it's like apples and pears, because you don't know their journey. They might have been in, I mean, okay, they're 20 years younger, but they might have been in business, a different start, a different set of circumstances. They have not lived your life and what you've been through and what you're going through at the moment. So it's not comparing like with like. And I know how easy it is, because I do it as well. You have a look and as you say, they've made £1 gazillion in 10.6 seconds or something, like the online space says. But the truth is that they might have made that one. Have they made that money? Isn't number one. There's an Insta life, which we all see. Also, the chances are that figure is sales, not profit, because that's a whole different game, because they'll tell you what they've sold. It's not cash in the bank, because if it's a payment plan, all these kind of things that sometimes we just have to remind ourselves of going, actually, that's what they want to show. And I'm not saying it's not true, but it's an Insta positioning, because that's part of what we do to a certain extent in business. It's your shop window to a certain extent. But if you're comparing yourself to this beautiful shop window, and actually if you look at, you're thinking, oh, I'm in like a stock room, there's all boxes everywhere and stuff everywhere, and you're going, well, I haven't got a beautiful shop window. But actually you're looking at two different, like say the apples and pears thing. And also you don't know how they feel. They might have achieved all these wonderful Insta things that they're putting out, but they could be really unhappy and have no family life or have no self-worth, or you don't know what's going on behind that.
Yeah, no, you're so right, and it's just that constant reminder and practice, isn't it? So that is the really important part. I know that Gemma's been trying to get small ones to,
and also if you've been somebody, as you say, who's been hard work, busyness, my whole worth and value is around how busy I am and all of those kind of things. Resting like that is not a natural thing for you to do, because it's not how you've lived your life. But as you say, when you give that space and that time to pause and to reflect, you will get more done, or that the harvest from that field is better because of the fallow time. And it's the same for us. We can do more when we slow, but it's like having to fight with your brain sometimes, because you've got to be busy and do. And when you've been in that mode for years, it's not always easy and natural to then go, I can actually sit here and pause and give myself permission to do that, and that's okay. And with the dropping, when you said the first thing that you drop is the sort of the intuition and things like that, again, you've been in your head probably for years and years, busy. It's just building the muscle up, and then it becomes more the habit that you've had for years of being one way. It's going to change it to the habit of another. But going in with that intention of a year, going in with the intention of this is how I want it to be, is the first step to changing that. So we've thought about what we want to leave in 2025. I'm thinking about what you say to yourself. So we said about the inner critic. Do think about that. What you say to yourself first thing in the morning is really key, because it's how you start your day. So when my kids were little, I was like, oh, I'm so tired. That was the first thing I said to myself. And then I spent the rest of the day feeling tired, because that's what I'd said. So think about what you say to yourself first thing in the morning. Again, it can be very habitual. So I had to actually say, no, I'm not tired. I'm going to say I've got enough energy for the day. So you might come in that first thought with the inner critic, but then it's like, okay, that's not serving me. What I'm saying to myself first thing in the morning isn't serving me. So what can I say differently today, at the beginning of today, that is going to serve me better? So have a think about your inner voice, and then anything that doesn't align with the person that you want to be with in 2026. So think about your future self. Think about that version of you that's going into next year. And I want you to think about emotions. So I always say to my clients, have 5 emotions that you want to feel. So rather than leading with your goal, like I was saying before, rather than leading with the amount of money you want in your bank, or the weight you want to lose, or where you want to be, or the business you want to have. We want those things because they're going to make us feel a certain way. So for example, I use the example of freedom. So if you want to feel more freedom, you might think that if you had 6 figures of cash in your bank account, that would give you freedom. And yes, you'd have the freedom to make a lot of choices and decisions if you had that amount of money in your bank. However, to get that amount of money, you might find that your business or your work and what you do or how you create that money in your bank makes you feel so exhausted and so trapped that you end up with the money sitting in your bank account, but you don't actually feel free. You feel worse because the freedom didn't come with that amount of money. So if you lead with emotions and you lead with freedom, if that's one of your emotions, then the universe gets to give you all these opportunities to feel free that you might not have even thought about. So I have 5 emotions. I have them in front of me on a little post-it here on my desk. So mine are love, fun, a purpose and impact I put together, abundance, and happiness and joy I have together. So when I'm making choices, and you can do this as well, when you're deciding things for 2026, is this choice that I'm making right now for me going to help me feel one of my or all of my or some of my emotions? So when you're creating your vision for 2026, start with how you want to feel, because that what we do, our human self says, right, okay, if I have this, I'll feel this, or if I do this, I'll feel this. And actually sometimes when we get to that goal, we don't feel the emotion. Have you ever worked really hard for something, got there and thought, I don't feel a sense of achievement, or I don't feel the happiness, or I don't feel how I felt? I remember, and that was me in my first marriage. Thought when I got married I would feel a certain way, and I didn't feel that way when I actually was in the marriage itself. So sometimes we have this vision of we're going to feel a certain way when we reach something. So when you're thinking about 2026 goals, think about your emotions first.
I'm gonna start with strong or strong.
Nice.
I want to feel stronger, positive.
Yeah. But peace is our peace. I get a lot of my clients, they want peace. Just want to have peace, their mind be at peace, not to feel like they're struggling, trying to having to reach this impossible goal all the time. But that peace starts from you, from within you. So if I was one of those people that always set the bar really high and it was never good enough, and so you're never at peace because you're constantly striving for something that's not reachable. And then I was like, I'll be good enough and worthy enough and everything will be fine when I reach this goal, and then it doesn't happen. So you end up beating yourself up, and the inner critic starts, Fanny Annie starts. So then you set the bar even higher, because if it's really high, then I'll feel at peace and all those things. But that peace never comes because you're in that constant cycle of it's not enough, and you keep raising the bar. But actually when you bring that bar down and go, actually peace can be here, and I can get at peace with that, and then I can, if I want to raise that bar, but all the time you leave it up here, you're never at peace because you're constantly striving for something that's impossible to get to. And I lived that for at least 2 decades, if not longer. So when you're making your choices and decisions in 2026, you can say to yourself, is this going to make me feel more at peace? Is this going to make me feel more organized? This is helping me be more proactive. So you can actually come back to those emotions, and that can be your guide for the year. And then the last thing I want you to think about is your future version of you. What's your next level self? What does she do? What does she wear? How does she stand? What is she doing in her business? And because when we connect in with the energy of that version of us, you're energetically taking yourself to your future self. So I have a picture of, it's not of me, it's of what represents my future self, and how she stands, and she's wearing like a cream trouser suit, she's standing really tall, she's really confident, she's sassy. And I, like, when I look at that picture, I was like, well, when you look at somebody and you think, I really admire them, or I think that it's not that you want to be like that person, but they've just got an essence about them, and you think, yeah, that she rocks, I want to be like that. So have a vision of your future self, thinking of how you would be, and how you'll, again, go back with your emotions, what you're doing, where you're living, what business you're doing, what work you're doing, how you're feeling, how you wake up. And a good thing is to take yourself through a day. So if you enjoy journaling, or you can just do it in your head, like, right, I wake up, where are you? like, who's next to you? He's not snoring. On my future self, he is not snoring. You know, it's like he doesn't stink. He's not really there, or he's already got up and made me a cup of tea or something. I don't know. But that's the future self. When you pull the curtains or the blind, are you looking at the sea? Are you in some warm country somewhere? Like, take yourself through the day of your future self, and every time you imagine that, you're already taking yourself closer to that goal, because your subconscious doesn't know what's real and what isn't. So you can hold the energy and hold the vision of something and of that version of you that you're going to be in 2026 without it being in your, not being your reality. One of the hardest things to do, of course, is our human self is like, reality's here. Like, this is what we're living and breathing. So sometimes we have to kind of pause and just close your eyes and be in that daydream state of, actually, this is my day that I'm moving towards. Okay, so I'm going to take you through this energy activation. So you can keep your camera on if you want to, turn it off. It's totally up to you, whatever you'd prefer. So we're literally just going to gently relax, and you can close your eyes if you want to. I find it easier to close my eyes so I can really go into the activation, but if you feel more comfortable, it's totally up to you what you want to do. So just literally relax, get comfortable in your chair, and close your eyes if you want to, and relax your mind. Take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and out, and allow yourself to be present right here, right now, in this moment. Continue to breathe deeply, breathing in relaxation and breathing out any stress or tension. With every breath, feel your body begin to soften. Relax your mind, unclench your jaw, relax your neck, allow your shoulders to drop, relax your arms, your hands, your tummy area, your legs and your feet. Now imagine roots coming from the bottom of your feet, going down through the earth, down, down until they reach the earth center. Imagine the roots wrapping around the center of the earth and travel back to your body. This will keep you grounded throughout this meditation and know you are safe. Now imagine a white light traveling from the top of your head through your higher self and up to the universe. Take another deep breath in and allow yourself to release the energy of the day and trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Know that you are guided, and it's safe for you to trust this process and to start creating the life you want to live. Know that you have the full support of your higher self. She is here to guide you and support you. Now, with the support and unconditional love of the universe, open yourself up to receiving all the love, all the guidance, all the happiness, all the peace, allowing all your desires to come to you. Allow the many resources from everywhere and anywhere in space, time and consciousness to come in. Open up and trust, knowing you deserve the life you want. Now imagine you're standing at a threshold, a place between what has been and what's waiting for you. 2025 is ready to fade behind you. 2026 is ahead of you, ready and open, quietly waiting for the woman you're becoming. Place your hand on your heart and feel the energy of your truth. This is the frequency of who you really are. The version of you who trusts her inner knowing, honors her own needs, and leads her life from a place of grounded clarity, confidence, and strength. Relax your hand down. Now bring your awareness to the parts of you that you are ready to release. The emotions you've outgrown, the beliefs that have held you back, the patterns that no longer serve you. Allow them to fall away. Anything that is not in alignment with the amazingness of who you really are is falling away. See it shedding away from your body and falling to the ground. Anything that has held you back in the past is melting away from you now. Any doubt or disbelief is falling away. With no judgment, just let it all go. Take a slow breath. And now we're going to call forward the next level version of you. The version of you who sees her challenges as an opportunity for lessons to be learned and beautifully guided redirection. The version of you who trusts herself, who knows her path, who attracts opportunities because her frequency is aligned. Now breathe the energy of your future self into your body and allow yourself to become her. Feel her clarity settle in your mind. Feel her confidence anchor in your chest. Feel her magnetism light up within you. And as you breathe in, merge with her completely. As you become the woman who leads herself with ease, the woman who doesn't chase, doesn't prove, doesn't shrink to fit in, but the woman who commands her life by being deeply, unapologetically herself. Let this alignment ripple through your body. This is the frequency that you're taking into 2026. Clear, connected, magnetic, guided by spirit, rooted in self-trust. Take one final breath to seal it in and declare to yourself, I am ready. Take another deep breath in, and when you're ready, wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes. Gently move your head from side to side as you bring yourself back into the room. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.